Hey there! I'm so glad you're joining me today for a story that's not just ancient history, but a powerful lesson for all of us right now. Let me take you back to a moment in the wilderness, a place where the sun blazed down, the wind carried whispers of hope and fear, and every step felt uncertain. Picture Moses, standing tall before the people of Israel, his face weathered by years of leading, his eyes filled with both concern and hope. Imagine the scene, dust swirling around their feet, the horizon stretching endlessly, and a crowd buzzing with anticipation and anxiety. Moses was ready to remind them of the incredible journey they'd had with God, a journey marked by miracles, challenges, and moments of deep doubt. From the thunder and awe of Mount Sinai, where God's voice thundered and the law was given, to the promise of a land flowing with milk and honey, God had been guiding them every step. God, in his wisdom, appointed leaders and judges among the people so that the heavy burden of leadership wouldn't rest on Moses alone. It was a community effort, a shared responsibility. Yet despite the promise of this glorious land, the people were filled with doubt. Their hearts wavered between faith and fear, hope and hesitation. When they finally reached Kadesh Barnea, right at the edge of their dream, fear took hold. The unknown seemed bigger than God's promise. Instead of stepping forward in faith, they sent spies into the land. When the spies returned with stories of giants and fortified cities, their hearts sank and courage faded. Fear whispered louder than faith, and rebellion took root. Doubt spread like wildfire, and trust in God's promise seemed to vanish. The people cried out in despair, convinced that God had brought them to the wilderness only to let them die. Their cries echoed across the barren land. Some even wished to return to Egypt, longing for the familiarity of their old lives, forgetting the pain of their bondage and the miracles they had witnessed. This disbelief stirred God's anger, leading him to declare that none of that generation would enter the promised land, except for Caleb, a man who fully trusted in the Lord and held on to hope when others gave up. In their stubbornness, some tried to claim the land on their own, rushing ahead without God's blessing. But without his guidance, they were defeated by the Amorites, learning a painful lesson about pride and impatience. Their tears were bitter, a stark reminder of the consequences of rebellion and the pain that comes from turning away from God's path. Moses, wise and patient, gathered the people and reminded them of the lessons learned. Obedience to God brings blessing, but rebellion and unbelief result in sorrow. God is ever faithful, even when we struggle to trust. But his people must trust him wholeheartedly, not just in the easy moments, but especially when the road is rough and the future is unclear. And here's the heart of it. This story isn't just about ancient Israel. It's about us too. God calls us to trust him every step of our journey. Whether we're facing our own wilderness or standing on the edge of something new, his promises are steadfast and his faithfulness is everlasting. No matter how uncertain things seem, he never fails. So, as you navigate your own wilderness, whatever that looks like, remember to lean on his promises, reflect on his faithfulness, and let hope guide your steps. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with others. Let's spread encouragement and faith together. And of course, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear how this story inspires you, or how you've seen God's faithfulness in your own life. Until next time, keep the faith, walk boldly in his promises, and remember, you're never alone on this journey. God bless.